Hey, this is John Lee Dumas, the founder and host of Entrepreneurs on Fire. And if you're wanting to learn how to embrace change and navigate through disruption as a leader, then listen to the Leadership is Changing podcast with my good friend, Denis Gianoutsos. He's prepared to ignite.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos.
Denis, thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here and looking forward to sharing some of my experience and stories with your audience, and hopefully it's some encouragement to them.
Yeah, welcome once again. And whereabouts in the world are you today?
I'm here in Anchorage, Alaska, on the other side of the world.
Wow, I don't think I've interviewed anyone from Alaska before, so I think you're the first. So congratulations. So that's pretty cool.
It's a long swim from New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? A long swim. It's like when I meet with people and I say to them, whereabouts are you? And they say they're either in Europe or they're in the US somewhere. And I go, they go, where are you? I'm just down the road. Whereabouts? In New Zealand? Oh, yeah, just around the corner. Yeah, that's good. What's it like living in Alaska? How long you been there? Have you always been there?
Born and raised, yes. My wife was born and raised as well. We didn't cross paths until our early 20s, but we love it here. Don't get me wrong. There are some challenges. We've had a really long, arduous winter. In fact, we broke some snowfall records, which that means something when you're living in Alaska. If you're living in like the South somewhere, the snowfall record could be like 3 inches. But here you're talking about several feet, and it was cold and it's been just dragging on. We feel like we're living in Narnia this year, but spring is showing some signs of life. We cheated. We just got back from Phoenix actually early this morning. So if the sun doesn't find us, we'll go find the sun somewhere. But no, it's an amazing place to live, to raise kids. It is absolutely rugged wilderness, absolutely beautiful. I'm 15 minutes from my office, Denis, but we have bears and moose that walk through our yard, and lynx, and amazing views of the mountains. It's an incredible balance of living on the edge of that untouched wilderness, but still having all the creature comforts of a decent-sized city.
Yeah. And the modern world as well. That's amazing, having nature there on your doorstep. And when you say going into spring, summer, what's summer like for you? Is it there's snow, or there is still snow? How does that work for you?
So a nice summer day in Anchorage is 70, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. What is that in Celsius? 25, 27, something like that. It's not super warm. We get a lot of sunshine though. And we're coming into this time of year where the sun is pretty much up all day long. In another couple of months, it barely even sets. Like it'll just skirt along the horizon, but it'll be 10, 11 o'clock at night and it'll still be sunny. Not light out, but sunny. Looks like 1 p.m. And it's funny because we've got young kids. We got a couple young kids, 6 in total, but 2 are pretty young. And every summer we try to put them to bed and they'll be like, but Mom, it's still light out, or Dad, it's still light out. And we go through this negotiation like, they think we're trying to pull a fast one, but no, it's like I said, it's really beautiful. In summer, fishing is really big, a lot of hiking. We have trails all around our house. So we really do try to make the most of it and make the most of the experience of what we have around us.
Oh, that's really special. I think where you are, a special place. Now, Chad, leadership. Before we get into that, we're going to be talking about leadership and going to be talking about change in that today. The one question I've got for you to help our listeners understand you more. Tell us more about your background, what you've done, what you do today. Because I know that you grew up in the financial industry and you've also got a strong background in athletics, nutrition, and performance psychology. You're a best-selling author, so we want to hear about that. But also, you own a boutique financial planning firm. So tell us all about that because we'd love to hear more about you and your background.
Okay. So as you said, Denis, I did grow up in the financial industry. My dad was involved in financial advising, and he taught classes in our church. Before Dave Ramsey, there was a guy named Larry Burkett that used to teach classes. It was called Crown Financial. And it was more of a Bible study than a financial study. So Dave Ramsey is shifted that more, it's still biblically based, but it's more of a financial study. But my dad taught that class. And I just remember seeing the lives that would change as people had a better understanding and a better relationship with their money and became better stewards. It didn't just stay in the money area of their life. It had a ripple effect into many other areas. And it was something I was really proud of him for. And I really looked up to him. And I remember people walking up to him at maybe a restaurant or at a grocery store and saying, "Steve, I'm so grateful that you taught me what you did because this is what we've been able to do, or here's how my life has changed." I was like, wow, like we grew up in a house where we talked about money. All this stuff was normal to us. I didn't realize the amount of stress and pain and anxiety that typically surrounded money conversations. And as I got older, I just realized how impactful it could be. When somebody is intentional in doing their finances on purpose, the rest of their life is more intentional. They are more purposeful in other areas of their life. And even though my background actually is in biochemistry, that's what my degree is in, I ultimately chose to follow my dad's footsteps, started my own financial planning practice in 2007, right before the global financial meltdown, with a daughter on the way. It was impeccable timing. And now really the long and short of it is we help make sure people don't run out of money or purpose in retirement. And we're really focused on the human side of this. And that's why we look at it as more coaching than simply advising, because you can give somebody a plan, you can give somebody investments, but they don't execute it. It's like giving somebody a nicer paintbrush and expecting them to be a better artist. We really want it to be a team approach. So it's very highly relational. And we're not just out there trying to help people find better investments. We're actually trying to help people become better investors. And those are two completely different things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I'm taking away from that is the fact that knowledge is really important. So it doesn't matter what you're doing in life, if you've got that knowledge and that understanding and you're doing things with intent and with a purpose, you're going to be such in a better space, in a different spot, where you're going to have a lot more balance in your life, whatever is going on for you, because you'll have a lot more confidence, I think, too, because the fact that you do have that knowledge, you've got that intent and purpose in what you're focusing on, which is very important for people to do. Very good. And do you have a financial planning business as well?
Yes. So our company, Veritas Wealth Management, that is what we do, is primarily retirement planning. That's what most people come to us, helping them come up with a plan so they don't have to work forever. And we started calling it a job optional lifestyle, because sometimes this view of retirement where you unplug from everything and it just becomes a 25-year vacation is actually really unhealthy. If you don't have anything meaningful to pursue, people typically pursue the wrong things. And we've tried to change how people look at even retirement, to view it as being independent from your paycheck. And that's what typically people come to us for. And so we work with families all across the US, helping them, like, as you said, become more intentional, more purposeful in their finances. And like you said, it is about education, but it's also about execution and implementation, because there's a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge, but they don't do the difficult things. They don't do the hard things. And very much in leadership, people who read tons of leadership books, and it's hard. It's hard leading people. It's hard leading yourself. And there's a balance of education and execution. And that's what we try to help investors find, is making sure we're educating them, but also helping them implement. So they're not too light on the execution side of things. Because I think there's a lot of people in this world that have, because of access to content, podcasts like yours and others, books, YouTube, seminars on YouTube, you can get amazing education. But there's a lot of people, I think, have become intellectually obese. They take in all this information, but they don't do anything with it. And it'd be like somebody sitting on the couch. You could be eating really healthy food, but if you don't do anything, and all you're doing is ingesting this stuff, it's still going to cause problems. So when it comes to finances, we help balance the education and the execution.
Yeah. I like that metaphor too that you use, because I think a lot of people do actually eat or consume a lot of information, a lot of education. There's this overwhelm of it actually. But and I always say, so what? What does it mean now? What are you going to do with it? Which is going to be very important. Okay, so you talked about leadership a little bit there. So how did you actually get into leadership yourself?
On accident.
Huh.
I am not a leader. I'm not a natural leader, I should say. And it wasn't something that I necessarily sought out. And one of the best leaders I know with the police department here in town, his dad told him when he was younger, I won't use his name here, but he said, "Son, you do not get to choose whether you're a leader or not. You only get to choose if you're an effective one." And that is so right. Because I think today we're so hyper connected. Like, our ability to influence people around us is unprecedented. So I think every one of us is a leader. But what I realized, especially in the midst of the global financial meltdown, 2008, 2009, 2010, people weren't just worried about retirement. They were worried about their livelihood, and they were looking to me for leadership. And I was thinking, I'm just helping you manage your finances. But when people open up that door to their financial lives, there's not much that they're willing to remain hidden. That's such an intimate, vulnerable thing that when they expose that part, all bets are off. And people were looking, I realized they were looking to me for hope. They were looking to me for direction and a vision for the future. And it was a little bit overwhelming. I almost thought, Dennis, this is not what I signed up for. And then my capacity started to get topped out, and I started building a team around me, and I had now employees, and I have a great team, a fantastic team around me. But it was not something that I realized when I started into this. I just thought I'm going to work with some clients and help them manage their money, but I didn't think about I would help lead individuals. I would lead investors. And that's really how this has evolved. And I remind my team of that all the time. People look to us for so much more than just financial advice.
Yeah.
They're looking for guidance. They're looking for somebody to be in their corner. It's very much leadership. So then I'm leading them to help them lead. And it's been a difficult journey. Like I said, I don't feel like I'm a natural born leader. So I trip up, I fail a lot. My team is very gracious. Our clients are very gracious with me. And it has been a fantastic growth process. And I think it's made me a better person.
I'd love to give you a little bit more insight into me. I am from Georgia, born and raised, South Georgia, small town with only 5,000 people, so they're probably still missing me today. My town, I attended university in Georgia at Clark Atlanta University, which is a historically Black college and university. My undergrad and grad degrees are in mathematics. I joined Ford directly out of school, so all 25 years have been at one company. But it doesn't feel that way because I've worked in 4 countries. So I've worked in Japan for 3 years, China for 6, Thailand for 2, and then obviously the remainder of that in the U.S. So it's been a really great career in that way. Personally, I'm married. I have a 9-year-old daughter. I don't recommend having children late in life because you will be tired all the time, but she is the joy of my life. And I've been married for 16 years to a wonderful man that people think because he's Vietnamese, I think I picked him up overseas, but I actually met him here in Dearborn in Region Court at Ford. The story isn't as crazy as some people think it would be.
Oh, wow. That sounds really cool. Now, Ford Motor Company, that's awesome. And I understand today you're the marketing general manager for electric vehicles. And so that'd be a really cool area to be in within the automobile industry.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area to be in at this time. I will tell you that every day I'm learning something new. I said recently to one of my team members that I was the perfect candidate for this job because I was driving around in my Expedition, which I love. But for those of you who are familiar with an Expedition, it's a really big SUV. And I was not convinced yet on the path. And then this job came along and it was interesting and exciting. And I said, let me learn more. And I am totally converted. I drive a Mustang Mach-E. I'm fascinated every day by the technology in the vehicle, by the savings, and the fact that I actually haven't been to a gas station in 4 months. And I'm paying less than $50 a month for gas limit for charging, which is a huge savings versus what I was paying before. But more importantly, the impact that Ford Motor Company is making to the environment with zero-emission vehicles and how we're changing lives even in the states of Kentucky and Tennessee by putting battery electric plants there and providing jobs to people locally. So it's just been a fascinating last 5-6 months that I've been in this role. Obviously, my career I've spent a large amount of time in product marketing and brand marketing and sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here, and also in analytics, but this, I will say, has been the most fun so far in my career.
Oh, I think it's a really interesting area. And I also see from your bio too that you, from Ford Motor Company, but also you've been featured in magazines and so forth like Forbes, Fortune, Authority magazine. and other global recognized leadership publications and podcasts. And of course, this podcast now, which is pretty good. And so I think that you're already quite keen in helping reduce the learning curve by sharing how leaders can accelerate their results and get more results going forward. And we're going to talk more about leadership a little bit later on as well. But you know what? I actually started my career in working for a Ford dealership here in New Zealand. And I understand that you've been to New Zealand before. You did some filming in Christchurch. Is that right?
I did. You've done your homework. I was actually working in China, and we were filming an ad for the Mondeo. And the Mondeo was, and obviously we sold it all across the world. It was called the Fusion here in the U.S. But we were filming it, and we decided to go to Christchurch. And we did an amazing ad. This is in China when our tagline was "Make Every Day Exciting." So it was a phenomenal ad that was done by our team in Asia, our advertising team. And we had a lot of fun with it. And it made me realize that I absolutely must come back to New Zealand because I didn't get enough of just seeing Christchurch. It was so beautiful. I want to see both the North and the South Island and really enjoy the full experience.
Oh, that's good. Around Christmas time is a really good time too, because it's summer here, but even late January into early February is when we have some really good weather months and something you might want to think about. Or if you like skiing as well, we've got that as well. So it's pretty cool. You can go skiing, you can go swimming.
Well, I already have a master plan. I'm a huge tennis fan, and I've been to Wimbledon, the French Open, and obviously the U.S. Open. I have not been to the Australian Open. I've walked by Rod Laver Arena, but I have not actually attended an Australian Open. So my plan is to do Australia, New Zealand together with the Australian. I have it in a plan. I just need to now implement the plan.
That's good, because the week before, maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the Australian Open opens, we have a competition here in New Zealand called the ASB Tennis Classic.
Okay.
And so some of those big top players come here and they play here first before they go into Australia. So like a little bit of a warm up. So yeah, you could do all of that and have fun as well. And and then go and watch some tennis in Australia. That'll be pretty cool as well. And you know what? We've got electric vehicles here too. You can utilize that as well.
Yeah, I just signed. Yeah, I know you do. And I think we're sending some Mustang Mach-E's there very soon as well.
Oh, wow. Maybe I should talk to you guys about getting a sponsorship with part of the podcast and then driving around a Ford vehicle here. That's pretty cool. There you go. Put you on the spot.
Anything's possible.
That's cool. There you go, listeners. You heard it here live. It's all good. Sondra, the thing here I wanted to ask you was, you've got an extensive background. You said 25 years in the company and so forth, and it's been one company, but I spent almost that amount as well into Hewlett-Packard and EDS before that, and it all became one company. But you get to do different kind of roles as well. For you, how did you get into leadership?
My first role in leadership within the company, I would say, I was applying for a role in what was then called Global Consumer Insights. I think we would call it marketing analytics today. And it was my first time applying for a supervisor role at Ford Motor Company. Very nervous. It was actually an interesting time within the company. And what I learned in that experience was how important it is to have mentors and advocates advocating for you, because my career is non-traditional. As I share it with you, my undergrad and grad are in mathematics. When I joined Ford, I actually did a stint in IT as well as product development and marketing plans and brand development. So I didn't take the traditional path. And then after I finished those three, I then went to Japan for 3 years and did a program management role. So when I came back and decided I wanted to be a marketer when I grew up, it was important to have a few advocates and also support as I transitioned to marketing plan and to a global analytics role. And I was responsible for Asia Pacific. So I had an opportunity once again to support Australia, New Zealand, and all of Asia Pacific that Ford defined as the time, which included 13 countries. And so I traveled to about 7 or 8 of them, trying to make sure that we actually knew what how our business was tracking. Quite honestly, we didn't have a brand tracking that was global in Asia Pacific. So I implemented one. We had GQRS, which was a quality survey, but we didn't have it in every market. So I added it to every market. And then we had customer viewpoint, which is a way for us to understand customer sentiment about our vehicles and our brand. And again, I had an opportunity to implement that across Asia Pacific. So from that perspective, I feel like I've been working with the teams in Australia and New Zealand for the last about 20 years. And so feels really good to hear your accent. You're hearing mine. You don't hear an accent, but I do. And it's one of my fondest memories is my boss, Nigel Harris, who was a great buddy of mine, an advocate, and who was also from New Zealand. And so it feels like coming home again to be on this podcast today.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.